Hello and welcome to my channel. To keep this video short, I will not read the scriptures contained in the study. You may want to pause the video to read them yourself. You may disagree with the points I raise or the conclusion I draw. That's okay. The intent here is to provoke us to study God's Word further and lead holy lives. Today's video is a scriptural study on the topic of the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. What is it? Where is it? When is it? And who will be sent there? Exoteros from the Greek means exterior, outside or outer. It is only used 3 times in the New Testament. Skotos means shadiness, obscurity or darkness. Used metaphorically, it conveys ignorance or blindness of human duty with respect to the divine, and the influencing darkness that holds sway over the ungodly. The Lord only used the term outer darkness 3 times, and they were all in the book of Matthew. In this passage, he was healing the servant of a Roman centurion. Jesus marveled at the Gentile man's faith, which he had not found in all of Israel. Then he stated that the sons of the kingdom would be thrown into the outer darkness. Here, in Matthew chapter 22, Jesus tells the parable of the wedding feast, in which the original guests refused to attend and even abused and killed the king's servants who had been sent to invite them. Clearly, he was directing that point at the Jews, the sons of the kingdom, who would be thrown out. The other point here that he makes is with regard to a guest who was not dressed appropriately and ended up bound hand and foot, then thrown out. Both examples of being called but not chosen. Here, in the famous parable of the talents, Jesus likens the kingdom of God to an estate owner going away on a long journey. Upon his return, his worthless and lazy servant was cast into the outer darkness. The parable of the talents is followed by Jesus describing the events after he comes in his glory. People will be separated into 2 groups, the blessed and the cursed. The blessed will enter and inherit God's kingdom. The cursed will be sent into eternal fire as punishment for their sins. It is clear those invited but not worthy to attend the wedding feast of God's Son was the Jewish nation, who rejected him. But what about the man with no wedding garment? It was a custom in the ancient world for the wealthy, especially kings, to provide garments for their wedding guests to wear at the wedding feast for their sons. Many are called to the kingdom of heaven, where God's wedding feast for his Son will take place. To be chosen to attend, you must put on his garment of righteousness that only he can provide to you by your faith in him. If you believe your own righteousness with its sin stains is good enough to wear, you too will be cast into the outer darkness like the man in this parable. The sons of the kingdom are identified here as the people of Israel who were descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Most, especially the leaders, did not believe that Jesus was the Son of God and the Messiah. Their faith in their ancestry and their lack of faith in him would result in their being cast into the outer darkness. The outer darkness was taught by Jesus in 3 different places, at 3 different occasions to 3 different groups of people. In Capernaum, speaking to a Roman centurion who was a Gentile, the Jews being made an example of little faith, trusting in their ancestry to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the sons of the kingdom would be thrown out. In Jerusalem, speaking to a multitude in the temple, including the Pharisees who knew that Jesus was speaking about them, he taught the wedding feast parable, where those originally invited to the feast refused to attend, even mistreating and killing the king's servants, and a guest who came without a wedding garment was thrown out. on the Mount of Olives, speaking only to Peter, Andrew, James, and John regarding his coming and the end of the age, he taught them the parable of the talents, where a worthless and unfaithful servant was thrown out. Israel had no faith in Jesus. The called but not chosen were the self-righteous. Lazy, fearful servants are the unfaithful. Mark 13:3 identifies that Jesus was speaking here privately to Peter, Andrew, James, and John. He told them to stay awake and be ready, but also be faithful servants that feed his household, ensuring they too would be ready upon his return. Wicked servants will be put in place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is a serious warning to church leaders. Watchfulness and doing good are also the theme in this passage, with a warning to the Sardis church to hold fast to the teaching they had received and repent from their impure lives. Ask yourself, why would his followers need to be told this? It's apparent that many in the church were leading lives unworthy of their calling and had defiled their wedding garments of righteousness. The inference here is that they would not walk with Christ in white, but instead be found naked as Jesus warned in Revelation 16:15. The possibility of blotting a name out of the book of life is raised here. Moses spoke of this in Exodus 32, verse 32, and Paul echoed a similar thought in Romans 9, verse 3. This is a serious warning to those in the church. Again, Jesus was speaking to Peter, Andrew, James, and John. The warning to avoid impure lives is made with his instruction for them to pray that they would be accounted worthy to escape the horrific time he had just described and to stand before him. Ask yourself, why would his closest disciples need to pray to be accounted worthy? Note the white robes the great multitude will be wearing standing before the throne. They are accounted worthy to stand there. The sixth seal is opened. The sun, moon, and stars go dark in the same way Jesus spoke about the signs of his coming, and the same way the Old Testament prophets described the day of the Lord. The kings know God's wrath is about to take place and try to hide. We already know that those accounted worthy will be able to stand before God. The seventh seal is opened that causes silence in heaven. It is the day of the Lord as foretold by God's prophets. The trumpets of the seven angels hail the beginning of God's wrath. Darkness will arrive with the blowing of the fifth trumpet. The day of the Lord is a time of destruction, fire, and darkness to punish sinners alive on the earth. Ezekiel had lived centuries after the Exodus when Moses spoke to Pharaoh. Here, Pharaoh is named as the great dragon. He is the devil incarnate who will blaspheme God and rule the world during the end of days. Note casting out and falling on the open field left behind, unlike those who will be gathered together. Jesus described the same outcome in Matthew chapter 24. Those cast out will be devoured by the birds of the air and animals of the earth, blotted out in the darkness of the day of the Lord. Jesus describes the same net, separation, and the throwing out of the wicked into the fiery furnace. Hell is imprisonment in gloomy darkness where an unrighteous soul awaits the day of judgment with weeping and gnashing of teeth. Note the word extinction. This compound word literally means to be turned over or down. In English, it is translated catastrophe, demolition, or overthrow. Figuratively, it means apostasy or to be subverted. This is not referring to the annihilation of the immortal soul and spirit as is taught by some. This is the destruction of the living. In Revelation 20, just 2 chapters before this, those whose names were not found in the book of life had been cast into the lake of fire for eternal punishment. How then, in chapter 22 here, are the wicked still present? Here the Lord comes in fire and judgment. Many will be slain. Note the last sentence where those inside the new earth can go out and see the dead bodies of the rebellious. Jesus also mentioned worms that do not die and fire not quenched when he spoke about Gehenna. The outer darkness. What is it? Where is it? When is it? And who will be sent there? Various teachings include: it is the burning and desolation of the temple, the destruction of Jerusalem, and the resultant dispersion of the Jews that occurred when the Romans crushed the Jewish rebellion in 70 AD. Now, there isn't time nor space in this video to read and discuss all the scriptural references I will note here. I suggest pausing at the end to note them, or to take a screenshot to read them later during your own study. Next, it has been taught as the Great Tribulation for the world. It's the day of the Lord, or God's wrath upon mankind, the Jews and the unprepared, unworthy disciples. It is outside the gates of the New Jerusalem, where the carnal and the unclean, saved from the lake of fire, exist, unable to enter and inherit the kingdom of heaven. It is the gloomy darkness of hell, where the ungodly are kept along with the fallen angels, chained until the day of judgment. It is the eternal punishment in the lake of fire. Just like the 3 separate outer darkness passages, I believe it occurs at 3 different times for 3 different groups of people in 3 different places. For Israel, it was the Roman overthrow of Jerusalem, and for the Jews, it was the burning and destruction of their temple, as well as the dispersion out of their homeland. For the unworthy and the unfaithful, it will be the darkness of God's wrath that will be executed upon mankind during the day of the Lord. For the unrighteous, whose names are not written in or have been blotted out of the book of life, it will be the gloom of hell awaiting fiery eternal punishment. In all 3 cases, it is the result of God's judgment for sin, with the sentence being executed outside and away from the light. Everyone has sinned. You know you have. The penalty for sin is eternal death. That penalty must be paid to satisfy a just and righteous judge. God is that judge. The good news of the gospel is that God's Son has already paid that penalty when he suffered and died on the cross. God accepted his sacrifice and raised him from the dead. Believe in him, and you will have everlasting life. Call on his name now, and he will save you. Pray this prayer with me. Lord Jesus Christ, I am an unworthy sinner deserving punishment. Please save me from judgment and the eternal sentence of death. If you already believe in him and you are caught in sin, ask his forgiveness. Turn away from the sin and don't do it anymore. Amen, and thank you for watching.